Welcome, wisdom seekers. Picture this. You're lying awake in the stillness of the night, staring at the ceiling, while your mind races endlessly. A conversation from days ago, a decision you made at work, the looming possibilities of failure, or the uncertainty of your future. All these thoughts whirl inside your head like a storm that refuses to pass. Overthinking. It's an invisible prison that binds you, and each time you struggle against it, the chains seem to tighten. What if, though, you could let go of that struggle entirely? What if, instead of being consumed by thoughts, you could learn to be the master of your own mind? Today, we embark on a journey, one that has been walked by philosophers for millennia, a journey into the ancient wisdom of Stoicism and personal mastery. In this journey, we will uncover the habits, the subtle shifts of behavior and mindset that allow a person to silence the chaos of their mind and stand firm in the face of uncertainty. This is not about shortcuts. It's not about avoiding thought altogether. After all, as the great Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. What we're seeking is not to shut down thinking, but to stop overthinking, an endless cycle of thoughts that adds no value to our lives. The Stoics had a word for this kind of mental excess: prolepsis, a state where one's thoughts are so overwhelming that they blur the reality in front of us. To overthink is to lose clarity, and in losing clarity, we lose control of our actions, our emotions, and ultimately, our lives. But my dear wisdom seekers, there is a way out. There is a way to stop overthinking and to regain command over your thoughts. And the key lies in a set of timeless habits that the greatest minds in history practiced daily. These habits are more than just routines. They are foundations of a disciplined and unshakable mind. So I invite you to sit with me as we explore these 10 habits to never overthink again. These habits will reshape your mind, just as iron sharpens iron, and bring you closer to a life of clarity, purpose, and inner peace. Wisdom seekers, your support means everything. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and consider using the thank you feature to make a donation. Every like, subscribe, and donation helps us continue our mission of sharing knowledge. Ready to unlock more wisdom? Let's get started. Habit 1. Embrace the power of present action. Do not act as if you had 1,000 years to live, said Marcus Aurelius in Meditations. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher knew the value of present action, of doing what is within your control, right here and right now. Overthinking is, at its core, a refusal to live in the present. When we overthink, we are either trapped in the past, reliving moments that no longer exist, or we are consumed by the future, anxiously calculating possibilities that may never come to pass. The antidote to this mental paralysis is deceptively simple. Act now. Act deliberately, and let your actions be the answer to your doubts. Imagine for a moment the weight of indecision. Every time you delay action because you are lost in thought, you create a gap, an uncomfortable space where fear and uncertainty thrive. The mind begins to fill that space with what-ifs and should-haves. The longer you wait, the more paralyzed you become, and this is where overthinking takes root. By developing the habit of embracing present action, you reclaim that space. You fill it not with doubt, but with movement, with decisive steps forward. This is not about acting rashly, but rather about trusting yourself to make decisions and act on them. As Epictetus, another revered Stoic, once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." To practice this habit, begin each day by focusing on the most immediate task before you. Ask yourself, what can I do right now that aligns with my goals and values? Then do it. Don't allow your mind to get lost in the endless possibilities of what might happen. Instead, trust in your ability to respond to whatever comes your way, when it comes. This is the essence of Stoic action: to do what is necessary in the moment, without letting the mind wander to places it does not belong. By making action your response to overthinking, you begin to train your mind to value doing over dwelling. It may not always be easy, but remember, each step you take forward in the present moment is a step away from the prison of overthinking. Habit 2. Detach from outcomes. There is an ancient Zen saying that echoes a core Stoic principle. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The wisdom here is clear. No matter what happens, you are to focus on the task at hand and detach from the outcome. As humans, we are wired to seek control. We want certainty, we crave results, and we believe that if we think enough about a problem, we can ensure the outcome will align with our desires. But this desire for control is one of the primary drivers of overthinking. The more we obsess over results, whether in relationships, careers, or personal pursuits, the more anxious we become about all the things that could go wrong. The Stoics knew that the outcomes of our actions are never truly in our hands. We can control our efforts, but the results are always subject to factors beyond our control: chance, fate, the will of others. As Epictetus wrote, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." This understanding is key to breaking the habit of overthinking. To develop this habit, you must learn to detach from the outcome of your actions. Focus instead on what you can control: your intentions, your efforts, your discipline. This is not about apathy or indifference to success, but about recognizing the limits of your control. You do your best, and then you let go. By practicing detachment from outcomes, you remove the fear of failure from your mind. Overthinking is often born from the terror of not getting what we want, but once you accept that the outcome is not yours to dictate, you are free to focus entirely on the present task. This freedom from expectation allows your mind to rest, to focus on the moment, and to release the endless spiral of worry. The next time you find yourself caught in a loop of overthinking, remind yourself of this: you are not responsible for the results. You are responsible only for your efforts. And that is more than enough. Habit 3, the art of self-inquiry. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." But what he did not say is that the over-examined life can become a prison. There is a fine balance between reflection and rumination, and the key to navigating this balance lies in the art of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is the habit of asking yourself powerful, yet simple questions that cut through the noise of your thoughts. This practice is grounded in curiosity and compassion, not judgment or self-criticism. The aim is not to solve every mental puzzle or untangle every worry, but to bring clarity to your thinking and separate truth from assumption. When we overthink, we often get lost in stories. Stories we tell ourselves about what others think, about what might happen, or about why we are not enough. These stories can feel so real, but they are often just projections of our fears and insecurities. Self-inquiry allows you to challenge these stories, to ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is this worry grounded in reality, or am I simply feeding my own anxiety? A simple yet effective question you can use in moments of overthinking is, what is actually happening right now? This question brings your mind back to the present moment and separates fact from fiction. It is a grounding technique, a way to remind yourself that most of your thoughts are just that, thoughts, not reality. Another question to ask yourself is, what can I learn from this? Overthinking often stems from a desire to avoid discomfort or failure. By reframing your overthinking into an opportunity for growth, you shift from a place of fear to a place of empowerment. If you focus on learning rather than avoiding failure, the need to overthink dissipates. Self-inquiry is not about finding definitive answers. It's about cultivating a habit of mindful questioning, a way to cut through the mental clutter and return to clarity. When you practice this habit, you become a detective of your own mind, always seeking the truth beneath the surface of your thoughts. And in doing so, you liberate yourself from the endless cycle of overthinking. Habit 4. Practice mindful acceptance. There is a simple phrase in Stoicism that carries profound weight. Amor fati, the love of fate. It means to embrace everything that happens in your life, not just with resignation, but with love and acceptance. This is not passive submission to whatever life throws at you, but an active engagement with reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Overthinking is often a form of resistance. We resist the uncertainty of the future, the pain of past mistakes, or the discomfort of not knowing the answer. We believe that if we think hard enough, we can find a way to avoid discomfort. But this resistance only deepens our suffering. The more we resist what is, the more we feed our overthinking. The habit of mindful acceptance is about letting go of resistance and embracing reality with open arms. This is not a call to give up or to stop striving for better. Rather, it is about accepting that life is unpredictable, that pain and uncertainty are inevitable, and that there is beauty in embracing life as it comes. The Stoics taught that everything that happens for a reason, even if that reason is beyond our understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. If it's unendurable, then stop complaining. Your destruction will mean its end as well." To practice mindful acceptance, start by observing your thoughts without judgment. Notice when you are resisting what is happening in your life, whether it's a difficult conversation, a failure, or an unexpected turn of events. Instead of getting lost in overthinking, practice saying to yourself, "This is what is happening, I accept it." This simple act of acceptance does not mean you stop working towards change or improvement. It means you stop fighting against the present moment. You stop feeding the belief that things should be different, and instead, you find peace in the reality of now. Acceptance, after all, is the foundation of inner peace. When you learn to accept the things you cannot control, you free yourself from the mental prison of overthinking. You become like a ship that sails smoothly through the storm, not because the waters are calm, but because the captain knows how to navigate through turbulence without losing direction. Habit 5. The discipline of simplicity. In a world that is constantly vying for our attention, we have become accustomed to complexity. We fill our days with endless tasks, our minds with countless worries, and our lives with more than we can ever truly manage. Overthinking thrives in this environment of chaos and clutter. When our minds are overloaded, we create fertile ground for anxiety, indecision, and mental exhaustion. The Stoics, however, practiced the discipline of simplicity. They believed that by simplifying our lives, we could achieve greater clarity of mind and purpose. Seneca, in his letters, often wrote about the value of living simply, of stripping away the unnecessary so that we could focus on what truly matters. He advised, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." To break free from the cycle of overthinking, you must cultivate the habit of simplicity in both your inner and outer life. This means simplifying your thoughts, your actions, and your surroundings. It means eliminating distractions and focusing on the essentials. The more you simplify, the less space you leave for overthinking to take hold. Start by simplifying your thoughts. When you find yourself overthinking, pause and ask, what is the simplest explanation or solution to this problem? Often, we overcomplicate things because we are afraid of the simplest answer. But simplicity is clarity, and clarity is the antidote to overthinking. Next, simplify your actions. Focus on doing fewer things with greater intention. The Stoics believed in living a life of purpose, where every action is aligned with one's values. By focusing on what truly matters, you reduce the mental clutter that fuels overthinking. Lastly, simplify your surroundings. Create a space that is free from distractions and unnecessary possessions. A cluttered environment often leads to a cluttered mind. By creating a physical space that reflects simplicity, you reinforce the habit of mental clarity. The discipline of simplicity is not about deprivation. It is about freeing your mind from the unnecessary, so you can focus on the essential. When you practice this habit, you create a mental environment where overthinking cannot thrive. You create space for clarity, for peace, and for purposeful action. Habit 6. Cultivate emotional resilience. At the heart of overthinking is often an emotional trigger: fear, insecurity, doubt, or shame. These emotions, if left unchecked, can hijack our minds, leading us down a spiral of endless thought loops. We replay conversations in our heads, imagine worst-case scenarios, and question every decision we've made, all in an attempt to soothe the underlying emotion that we are not addressing. The Stoics understood the power of emotions, but they also understood that emotions do not have to control us. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Emotional resilience, the ability to feel deeply, but not be ruled by those feelings, is a habit that can free you from the grip of overthinking. To cultivate emotional resilience, you must first become aware of your emotional triggers. When you find yourself overthinking, pause and ask, what emotion am I avoiding? What am I really feeling right now? Often, overthinking is a way of distracting ourselves from uncomfortable emotions. By acknowledging these emotions, you take the first step towards emotional mastery. Once you have identified the emotion, practice sitting with it. Allow yourself to feel it fully without judgment. This may feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, emotions are temporary. They rise and fall like waves in the ocean. The more you allow yourself to experience them, the less power they have over you. The Stoics also practiced a technique called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This involves mentally preparing yourself for the worst possible outcome, not as a way of inviting it, but as a way of building emotional resilience. By imagining the worst-case scenario, you rob it of its power. You realize that, no matter what happens, you have the strength to endure. By cultivating emotional resilience, you free yourself from the emotional triggers that fuel overthinking. You become the master of your emotions, rather than their slave. And in doing so, you create a mind that is calm, clear, and unshakable. Habit 7. Embrace imperfection. One of the greatest sources of overthinking is the pursuit of perfection. We believe that if we can just think long enough, plan thoroughly enough, or prepare perfectly, we can avoid mistakes, failure, or criticism. But this pursuit of perfection is a trap. It leads to paralysis, indecision, and endless overthinking. The Stoics understood that perfection is an illusion. They embraced the concept of eudaimonia, flourishing through virtue, not through perfection, but through the pursuit of excellence within the limits of human imperfection. As Seneca wrote, "We are not perfect, none of us, but that is no reason to tear ourselves apart." To break the habit of overthinking, you must first let go of the need to be perfect. Accept that you will make mistakes, that not everything will go according to plan, and that this is not only inevitable but necessary for growth. Overthinking is often an attempt to avoid the discomfort of imperfection, but the irony is that it keeps us stuck, unable to move forward at all. The habit of embracing imperfection begins with self-compassion. When you find yourself overthinking, remind yourself that mistakes are part of the process. Instead of fearing failure, reframe it as a learning experience. Each mistake is an opportunity to grow, to improve, and to become more resilient. The Stoics also believed in focusing on progress, not perfection. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop overthinking about what you should do or how perfect you should be, and focus on taking the next step forward. By embracing imperfection, you free yourself from the unrealistic expectations that fuel overthinking. You allow yourself to act, to learn, and to grow, without the burden of needing everything to be flawless. This is the path to true mental freedom. Habit 8. Limit information consumption. In today's digital age, we are constantly bombarded with information. From social media to news outlets, our minds are flooded with endless streams of data, opinions, and updates. While access to information can be empowering, it can also become overwhelming, especially when it fuels overthinking. The Stoics were masters of mental discipline. They understood that the quality of one's thoughts is directly influenced by the information one consumes. Epictetus advised, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." This is not a call to ignorance, but a reminder that not all information is valuable or necessary for a focused mind. To cultivate the habit of mental clarity, you must limit your consumption of information. This means being selective about what you read, watch, and listen to. Overthinking often arises when we are overloaded with conflicting opinions, endless options, and too much data to process. By reducing the amount of information you consume, you create space for deeper, more focused thinking. Start by setting boundaries for your information intake. Decide how much time you will spend on social media, news, or entertainment, and stick to it. Be mindful of the quality of the information you consume. Ask yourself, is this helping me grow? Is this contributing to my goals, or is it simply adding noise to my mind? By limiting information consumption, you create a mental environment where overthinking cannot thrive. You give yourself the space to focus on what truly matters, and you reclaim control over your thoughts. Habit 9. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful antidotes to overthinking. When we overthink, we are often focused on what is lacking, what we don't have, what could go wrong, or what might not work out. This focus on scarcity and negativity fuels anxiety and keeps us trapped in a loop of overanalysis. The Stoics practiced gratitude as a way of shifting their focus from what they could not control to what they had already been given. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reminded himself to be grateful for the simple things: life, health, family, and the opportunity to live another day. To cultivate the habit of gratitude, begin each day by reflecting on 3 things you are grateful for. These can be small or large, but the key is to focus on what you already have, rather than what you lack. This simple practice shifts your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. When you find yourself overthinking, pause and take a moment to express gratitude. Gratitude is a grounding force that brings you back to the present moment. It reminds you that no matter how uncertain the future may be, there is much in your life that is good right now. By practicing gratitude, you create a mental environment where overthinking cannot take root. You focus on the positive, on what is within your control, and you free yourself from the mental prison of doubt and worry. Habit 10. Daily reflection. The final habit, and perhaps the most important, is the practice of daily reflection. The Stoics believed that self-reflection was essential for personal growth and mental clarity. At the end of each day, they would take time to reflect on their actions, thoughts, and emotions, asking themselves, what did I do well today? What could I improve? How did I respond to challenges? This practice of daily reflection allows you to review your day with clarity, without the haze of overthinking. It gives you the opportunity to learn from your experiences, to celebrate your successes, and to identify areas for growth. To practice daily reflection, set aside time each evening to review your day. Write down your thoughts, your wins, your challenges, and what you learned. This simple habit helps you gain perspective, release any lingering overthinking, and prepare for the day ahead with a clear and focused mind. Daily reflection is not about self-criticism, but about self-awareness. It is a habit that fosters growth, clarity, and peace of mind. Conclusion. The Stoic path to mental freedom. Overthinking is a modern-day epidemic, but it is not an inescapable fate. By cultivating these 10 Stoic habits, embracing present action, detaching from outcomes, practicing self-inquiry, mindful acceptance, simplicity, emotional resilience, embracing imperfection, limiting information, gratitude, and daily reflection, you can free yourself from the chains of overthinking and step into a life of clarity and purpose. Remember, wisdom seekers, the mind is a powerful tool, but it is also a tool that requires discipline. By practicing these habits, you are not only taking control of your thoughts, but you are also mastering the art of living. This is the path of the Stoic, the path to mental freedom. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Continue seeking wisdom, continue striving for mastery, and remember, the greatest power you have is the power over your own mind. Until next time, my fellow wisdom seekers, stay strong, stay clear, and keep walking the path.